Why, hello. Why, hello. So, wanted to ask some questions. Wanted to figure some stuff out. So, the primary topic tonight is what do you hold dear? I think it's a question that's very relevant at any time, at any age. Welcome. Welcome, Robin. Thanks for coming on over. Got some pretty important things to talk about while we have time. I'm not convinced that YouTube is actually going to shut down a bunch of channels. I I'm just not convinced. But as with most things, we shall see. Okay, so let me get the point. One of those points about what do you hold dear has to do with tradition. Hot topic right now. And it may just be personal, but I've never heard more around the idea of not celebrating holidays than at this time. I just think about the get sidetracked here for a minute. Regarding the YouTube thing, logistically speaking, it's quite illogical for somebody to say that they would take down a million videos unless that's accomplished by an algorithm. But you can't trust an algorithm 100% to delete videos. So my theory, which will be, we'll see, my theory is that a million or 100 million videos, I don't know how many, will be algorithmically shadow banned more than ever before in a new fancy way of shadow banning. At worst, that's what I believe will happen. Because logistically, it doesn't quite make sense that they would be capable. It would cost a tremendous amount of money to manually do it, and it's not good for the hardware to actually delete. It's more cost effective to purchase more storage space than it is to delete files when you're talking about um, large scale large scale storage, which, if I'm not mistaken, is in the yottabyte, uh, like 11 yottabytes per year or something. I don't remember. It's a lot. I don't remember how many. I know it goes giga, tera, peta. I'm pretty sure yotta after that. But the number is big. That being said, I don't know. I just have my speculations. But what I'm thinking is that we need to ask more questions. Not about YouTube, but we need to ask more questions about tradition. Just ask questions and then let God do the rest. Seriously. Yes, we will. And now that you've mentioned YouTube has changed over the years, let me share with you a young man. That video got. I gotta give myself a thumbs up. Um, Let me share with you a young man who made some videos, um, who has had a total of 19,874 views, joined YouTube in 2006. Yep. Anyway, that would be me. These videos are from quite a long time ago. There's a funny one. We'll watch this one together. Let's make sure there's nothing crazy on the screen. Yeah, we'll just click on it. Okay. 180 views on this one. Hey, Bigby, what's going on? Alrighty. Well, there you go. Hey, look at that. I was trying to grow my stuff out then too. Just look at this. This was 12 years and 1.5 months ago. So, um, yeah, 3 thumbs ups, 2 thumbs downs, and 180 views. This is what I thought of YouTube in 2007 when I attempted to get YouTube partnership.
I signed up to be a YouTube partner today. I doubt they'll even read it. I happen to get exactly 1,000 characters in my entreaty to them. We'll see how that turns out. I guess only you can make a difference by commenting and rating and subscribing to my videos. And for all you new subscribers, I thank you very much. You have a great life. Dr. Jump.
Oh boy, this is obviously a different YouTube channel. Um, I laughed at the description. Yep. Yeah, you used to have to write a letter. Anyway, um, yeah, I downloaded all my old videos off of that channel. Thank, Thankfully, because those were pretty special and probably the most likely to be deleted. All right, so my mustache has grown a little bit more bulky over the years. Yeah, I look so young. That was me 12 years ago. I, I was 22 then. I'm getting messages or something. Somebody messaged me on Discord. Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening right now? No? Ridiculous. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh boy. Alrighty. So back to the question. Back to the question at hand. And then we'll do some Bible stuff and all that good stuff. Um, yeah. I don't know that you need a club to grow your facial hair, but you know, whatever works. I hear that oil is helpful. I've never been much for those kinds of rituals. All right, so ask questions. Well, my wife asked a good question, and she found very fascinating answer. She said, "Why is it? Why is it that we drop a ball? Why is it that we drop a ball at New Year's? You know, why is that? What does that mean? Dropping the ball, New Year's? Hmm? It's interesting. I wonder. There's other traditions we ought to ask questions about. I'm trying to pull up a verse. Give me a moment. Yeah, that's good. We'll do that. But we need to do the whole chapter. This is a fascinating chapter, and I want to read it. I want to read it with you. I find this chapter very, very fascinating. I don't know what happens to the chat when I switch. Pretty sure. Do we still have? Obviously, made it disappear. You're all at it. Why not? Why not? Right? Chat box. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We will add it. I guess right there, right? And we'll put it. What is this one called? Donation ticker. There, we'll put the chat box below that. All right, that should work. Yep, let's go to Jeremiah. Sorry about that. I just figured I'd put the chat. Alrighty. That should do it. It'll pop up eventually, but it's got to work its way up. It's all good. It's all good. All right, so let's read this because it's interesting, and we shouldn't shy away from the truth of God. And I'm just going to keep on saying stuff from the Bible and let God do the rest. All right, Jeremiah 10. Hear the word that the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. This is what the Lord says. Do not learn the ways of the nations, or be terrified by the signs in the heavens, though the nations themselves are terrified by them. I think that deserves a pause. Maybe certain things are coming to mind for you. By the way, feel free to invite whomever. I I'm not really good at self promotion. I did a Twitter thing and I have like nobody on Twitter. It's whatever. But if you want to post on mines or any of that good stuff, that'd be helpful, I guess. Nobody seems to pay attention to those kinds of announcements, anyways. I guess I'll have to read Hebrews 7 here in a little bit, too. Good to that. All right. This is interesting. Just keep this in mind, okay? For the customs of the peoples, are worthless. They cut down a tree from the forest. It is shaped with a chisel by the hands of a craftsman. They adorn it with silver and gold. I just need to go into an aside here. Silver and gold. Silver and gold. It is because I am an INTJ. I know. Here, I'll pull up a picture and show you. If you don't know immediately what I'm referring to. Cornelius, I believe. Was it Cornelius? Yep, that was his last name. Yukon Cornelius. Yukon Cornelius. Yeah, it's not going to show very well, so I'll just do it right here. A little scary to pull up image results on a live stream. Just a little scary. I had to test it first. Silver and gold, guys. Silver and gold. You guys probably have seen the good old fashioned Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from the 1960s, I believe, maybe 70s, I think 60s. I liked, you know who my favorite character was? The Abominable Snowman, the Bumble. Why was he my favorite? All right, let's move on. Silver and gold. And fasten it with hammer and nails, so that it will not totter. Like scarecrows in a cucumber patch, their idols cannot speak. They must be carried, because they cannot walk. Do not fear them, for they can do no harm, and neither can they do any good. There is none like you, O Lord. You are great, and your name is mighty in power. Who would not fear you, O King of the nations? This is your due. For among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like you. But they are altogether senseless and foolish, instructed by worthless idols made of wood. Hammered silver is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of a craftsman in the hands of a goldsmith. Their clothes are blue and purple, all fashioned by skilled workers. But the Lord, that'd be Yahweh, by the way, where you see the capital. I'm gonna have to find which different versions of the Bible, or translations rather, use Yahweh there. But the Lord, Yahweh, is the true God. He is the living God and eternal King. The earth quakes at his wrath, and the nations cannot endure his indignation. Thus you are to tell them, these gods, who have made neither the heavens nor the earth, will perish from this earth under these heavens. God made the earth by his power. He established the world by his wisdom, and stretched out the heavens by his understanding. When he thunders, the waters of the heavens roar, and he causes the clouds to rise from the ends of the earth. He sends the lightning with the rain, and brings the wind from his storehouses. Every one is senseless and devoid of knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols, for his molten images are a fraud. They have no breath in them. They are worthless, a work to be mocked. I want you to keep that in mind, actually. They are worthless, a work to be mocked. We live in a culture and time where it is beyond taboo to make anybody feel bad for their idols. But what does the Bible say? What does the Bible say? Simon Cowell needs to hear this, you say? Oh, are you talking about my singing? Oh boy. I hope not. He would just throw a spear at me or something. That took a second, but I finally got it. It went over. Okay. Yeah, Christmas is definitely coming up tonight in the topic, if you haven't noticed already, regarding traditions and the tree with silver and gold. Tear down the golden calves, guys. Just have questions to ask. But back to this. They are worthless, a work to be mocked. In the time of their punishment, they will perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the maker of all things. Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. The Yahweh of hosts is his name. I'm just going to say Yahweh every time I see Lord. Capitals like that, because that's what's there. Gather up your belongings from this land, you who live under siege. For this is what the Lord says, behold, at this time I will sling out the inhabitants of this land and bring distress on them, so that they may be captured. Woe to me because of my brokenness. My wound is grievous. But I said, this is truly my sickness, and I must bear it. My tent is destroyed, and all its ropes are snapped. My sons have departed from me and are no more. I have no one left to pitch my tent or set up my curtains. For the shepherds have become senseless and do not seek the Yahweh. Therefore they have not prospered, and all their flock is scattered. Listen, the sound of a report is coming, a great commotion from the land to the north. The cities of Judah will be made a desolation, a haunt for jackals. I know, O Lord, that a man's way is not his own. No one who walks directs his own steps. Correct me, O Yahweh. I know I said Lord on the last verse. Correct me, O Yahweh, but only with justice, not in your anger, or you will bring me to nothing. Pour out your wrath on the nations that do not acknowledge you, and on the families that do not call on your name. For they have devoured Jacob, and they have consumed him and finished him off. They have devastated his homeland. Huh. Jeremiah 10:11 is in Aramaic. Interesting. Interesting. I have to look that up real quick. Let's look at it, guys. I want to read it. Where is it? Where do we have to go to? About 250 total verses. Well, that's not bad. That's a little over 1% of the Bible. Sorry, a little over 1% of the Old Testament was Aramaic. I don't know where I think my Hebrew Bible's downstairs. Can I just look this up on Blue Letter? Is that what I need to do? We'll just go to Blue Letter. Here, yeah, Jeremiah. Let's see if it was 10:11, I believe, right? Yeah. Kidana, Hemaron, Lahom, Elohim. Oh, wait a second. Reverse interlinear.
Big B Lupo donated $5.
Thanks.
I had to donate 5. This is exactly what people need to be hearing. Godspeed, good sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Try to tell you guys it's very helpful. And I'm very thankful. Thank you, Bigby. Here, I'll switch it over. I didn't realize that you couldn't see for a second. All right, so just zoom in for all of you that want to. It's not being blocked too bad. It's all good. All righty. Kidana, Hey Maron, Lahom, Elohi, Ella, Haya, Elahaya, D, Shemaiah, Barak, Ba'arakah, La, Avado, Avadu, is that do? Avadu, Yabadu, Yabadu, Abadu, Yabadu. Amazing. The Flintstones were totally based. You never even knew it. You never. This is amazing. Now we've discovered that the Flintstones was totally based. You guys, Yabba Dabba Doo literally means, has something to do with make. Yabba Doo. Sorry, Abad. And then Abad. Abad. What? What? This isn't. It's H7. So, anyway. What's the Yabba Doo? Made. I don't know. But I just figured out that Yabba Dabba Doo is Aramaic. Okay, so it's right here if you're wondering where I'm talking about. Abadu. Technically, it's Yabadu. This is a sound, like a EY, if you were like to transliterate that accent. So it's not technically Yabba Dabba Doo, but it's close. It's really close. You are not being respectful to God's word right now. It's okay. We'll get past this embarrassing moment. La Abadu, Yabadu. I'll move on. May Are May Aria. May Aria. Umin Techo Shema Ela. This, I forget, this is like some fancy Masoretic stuff that I can't remember what that ending means, but it has a meaning. Hebrew and Aramaic are so similar, guys. If you ever study, you'll be like, wait. So like if you know in the Hebrew Bible, Bereshit bara Elohim et Hashemayim, Shemayim with an M at the end is the Hebrew word for heaven. Shemayin is the Aramaic. You know, they've got some very similar stuff. Elah, like the word Elohim, stuff like that. Anyway, Amar, very similar. But we'll move on because I'm probably boring the heck out of most anybody right now as far as that goes. I was just curious about the Aramaic verse in the in just randomly inserted. And that verse was this one right here. Thus you are to tell them, these gods who have made neither the heavens nor the earth will perish from this earth and from under these heavens. And then there's commentaries and all sorts of stuff that you can look up. They're like, why was this verse written in Aramaic? Well, there's almost always a reason. You gotta, excuse me. I got a. Oh, I used the Blue Letter Bible, but oh, that worked. Cool. Usually links don't work like that, but that's great. Um, yeah, Strong's Hebrew Lexicon. I have one. Um, it's just so easy to look stuff up online. Um, I've gotten majorly out of practice. All right, so anyway, some interesting things in here. Specifically when it talks about how God created. Um, it's always interesting to look at the Bible verses about me here. So right after the Hebrew, um, oh, Robin left. Gotcha. Um, just reading all your comments. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Caught up on the comments. All right. So this is fascinating to me. God made the earth by his power. Remember this is just even more support obviously for ex nihilo, meaning out of nothing, right? From his power. Does it talk about substance? Does it talk about substance? It's very fascinating. But just read this like a child. When he thunders, when God thunders, whatever that even means. The waters in the heavens roar. What is that? What are the waters in the heavens? Well, the heavens have several ways to understand them. And he, God, he causes the clouds to rise. Why do the clouds sit up there in the sky? Well, you see, the particles are such dispersed in this kind of way, and heat, and he causes the clouds to rise. The mechanism is far less important than just recognizing and knowing that he does it. He made it be that way. That's that's just how he made it. Very important. He brings the wind from his storehouses, meaning wind isn't the result of some phenomenon. Wind is stored by God and released. Everyone is senseless and devoid of knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols. For his molten images are a fraud, and they have no breath in them. They are worthless, a work to be mocked. In the time of their punishment they will perish. But anyway, this is the other part here. How many times that exists? What do you think? You want to find out? Let's find out. Let's find out. Here, I'll click that link again. I don't need to click it again. Ends of Earth. Boom. Let's see. Ends of Earth. We'll do that. Oh, weird. That website you gave me took me to Blue Letter Bible. Ends of the earth. Ends of the earth. Ends of the earth. Ends of the earth. Ends of So there's no such thing as ends of earth. So let me look. Ends of the earth, so I can get exact matches. Ends of the earth occurs in the King James Bible 236 times, but only in 29 verses. Let me show you. All right. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock. His horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken into pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. The Lord shall judge the ends of the earth. Just pay attention. We got Deuteronomy, we got 1 Samuel, we got Job. For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven. Job. He directeth it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. Job again, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. According to thy name, O God, so is thy praise unto the ends of the earth. Thy right hand is full of righteousness. Psalm 59. Consume them in wrath, consume them, that they may not be, and let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. By terrible things in righteousness wilt thou answer us, O God of our salvation, who art the confidence of all the ends of the earth, and of them that are afar off upon the sea. God shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. He shall have dominion also from sea to sea, and from the river and unto the ends of the earth. He hath remembered his mercy and his truth toward the house of Israel, and all the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. He causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings for the rain. He bringeth the wind out of his treasuries. Getting Discord notifications. Wisdom is before him that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth. It's interesting, guys. It's a lot of verses. Obviously, it's a lot of verses. We've got Proverbs, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Micah, Zechariah, and Acts. I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. That's to the ends of the world, Romans. It's only 2 New Testament references, but there they are. Oh no, guys. You think about the word ends. It's worth asking questions, is all I'm saying. What happened to my face? Oh, I didn't mean to do all that. Whoops. Well, you could read better. I didn't mean to do all that tininess. Anyway, yeah, we need to be asking questions, and I have questions. I'll tell you right now. I've got some questions. So, was that a rabbit trail? Yes. Is it an important one? Maybe. So here's the point. As far as Jeremiah 10 goes, it's these verses. Do not learn the ways of the nations. Could that apply to any nation of any time? And who is the audience? As you see, the header is about the sovereignty of God, but that's not part of the scripture. But is this referring to the sovereignty of God? Sure, I think it's referring to a lot about God. But anyway, do not learn the ways of the nations or be terrified by the signs in the heavens. Well, here's an example. Being terrified by the signs in the heavens. What are those stupid things called? The zodiacs. That'd be an example. Being terrified by the signs in the heavens. Okay, that'd be one example. Here's another example. Potentially. At least ask the question. Study for yourself. Could it mean things like zodiacs? I think it could. You determine for yourself. Could it mean things like a future coming alien invasion? I think it could. But you be the judge of that yourself. And what I mean by that is it's all fake. As in, do not be terrified by the signs in the heavens. It's what it's telling you. It's what it's saying. So don't do that. So if they say that there's aliens, you're not supposed to be terrified. For the customs of the peoples are worthless. Cut down a tree from the forest. True. It is important what is in your heart. It is indeed. It is. Many people argue, I'm sure you've heard it. They say, well, I'm not worshiping the garland. I'm not worshiping the wreath. I'm not worshiping the tree. I'm not worshiping the presence. I'm not worshiping the lights. And there may be some grace. Far be it from me to emphatically state that there is no grace among those things. I personally am trying to determine beyond a shadow of a doubt the prohibition of these things. So if you have a supporting Bible verse like Jeremiah 10 that prohibits the ways of men, the traditions of men, and as Jeremiah 10 points out, the customs of the peoples, please share those verses. I'm going to take a brief sidetrack. It says 4. Where my ballers at? By ballers, I'm wondering if you mean globe, Earth. It's okay if you did. It's perfectly fine. That's not tonight's topic. That's not tonight's topic at all. I'm having some really nice mate tea though. Yeah, it says 3 now. So there was 4, and now it says 3. Alrighty. Just making sure everything's looking copacetic. It's looking copacetic. Alright. We shall continue. We're going to take a little deviation. The topic being, what do you hold dear? I just want to read. I just like the Bible. But these are verses about the Holy Spirit, okay? How is this related? Let's see if it is. You know how I roll. This is never scripted. This is never planned. So let's go for it. But again, yes, I see the number 5. Thanks for coming, hanging out. The topic is, what do you hold dear? And I've read Jeremiah chapter 10, and there's some interesting stuff in there. And we'll go back to that topic. And if you have any Bible verses that support the prohibition of following the traditions of men, the customs of men, please share those in the chat. In the meantime, let's read some Bible. Psalm 139, 7 through 8. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, behold, you are there. John 14:17. That is the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, because he abides with you and will be in you. What was that talking about? All right. Isaiah 40:13. Who has directed the Spirit of the Lord, whereas his counselor has informed him? John 16:13. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all truth, for he will not speak on his own initiative, but whatever he hears, he will speak, and he will disclose to you what is to come. 1 Corinthians 2:10 through 11. For to us God revealed them through the Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, even the depths of God. Who would be that intimate? Now just keep this in mind. Why am I reading verses about the Holy Spirit? There have been those that say that the Holy Spirit is not God. Who would be perfectly intimate with God besides God? For who among men knows the thoughts of a man except the spirit of a man which is in him? Even so, the thoughts of God no one knows except the Spirit of God. Then he said to me, Zechariah 4:6, this is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel, saying, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Yahweh of hosts. Luke 1:35, the angel answered and said to her, the Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. And for that reason, the Holy Child shall be called the Son of God. Hebrews 9:14, how much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal, eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God. Cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living God. John 14:16, I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may be with you forever. Ephesians 4:4 through 6. There is one body and one Spirit, just as also you were called in one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. 1 Corinthians 12:4. Now there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. Romans 1:4. Who was declared the Son of God with power by the resurrection from the dead, according to the Spirit of holiness, Jesus Christ, our Lord. This is how you get that banding together of Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God. This is how they get linked together as you read the Bible. And hope does not, Romans 5:5, and hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out within our hearts through the Holy Spirit who was given to us. 1 Corinthians 6:19, or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own? We'll stop there for a while. I'll address some of the verses and chapters in the chat. Looks like we have at least one verse. Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. All right. Very good verse. Very, very good verse. Bon vive. You know what that's just French for good life. But it'd be kind of sad if your entire race was identified as being very effeminate. I just can't imagine a Bear Grylls from France. This will be a little challenge. You guys help find the most manly French man ever. I don't care when from. He's got to be French, born in France, of French heritage, lineage, at least second generation. I mean, third? I don't know how many generations. Needs to be French. Okay? His great grandparents need to have spoken French. Find the manliest French man you can find. I'm just curious. All right. This is a good list. This is fantastic. Excuse me. Sorry. Let's go to this website. We'll look at it together. It's French for, oh my gosh. That's terrible. Those terrible Gomorrans. All right, so prepare your eyes for ghastly. Maybe I could change the color. I bet you I could. I'm going to show you my awesomeness. Just give me a second. Let's see if I can pull this off. I know that yellow is pretty terrible. But let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can do this. BG. Nope. Back. I bet that's it right there, right? Tile color. No. Content. What do you think, guys? It's going to be this one. Let's do this. Oops. What's going on? I thought I could, is that only in, I can't do that in Brave? Oh, that's annoying as all get out. Wait. I wonder if I could just, oh, I can't edit it at all. Isn't there a way? Is this how? There it is. There. Look at that. That's not bad. That's much better though. How about that? So in case you wonder if you use Brave and possibly some other browsers, you just go to inspect. And all I had to do was uncheck that little box. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, guys. I knew I could do it because you believed in me. Not at all. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. So ask some questions, right? It's the point I want you to ask. You don't need it. This is not the currency you were looking for. That's hilarious. Are you talking about my bat? You're talking about this? I've got like 22. Just, you know, whatever. It's weird. It says I've gotten 76 over the course, but it's like some disappears. I don't understand it. I've turned off all the auto donating. Um, I don't know. It's confusing. If I can find a way to send it to you, I'll send it to you. I don't care. I'll figure it out. All right. So anyway, um, bells. So we're talking about identifying objects related to Christmas. Okay. Talking about identifying objects and their origin and their purpose and yeah. So let's do this. Um, so bells. And yes, I'm going to use these keywords for everything. So bells have a deep symbolic meaning that is associated with the mind and expansion of consciousness. Bells in witchcraft, bells are repellers of the witches and evil spirits. All right. Let's see. What I need is a nice online dictionary. If anybody can find me a good um, occult symbolism dictionary. I may not here. I'll just look it up. But if you find one, just let me know. Symbol dictionary. What do you know? That that's exactly what I was looking for. Great. bell. All right. Yeah, I see that there's some, with the occult stuff, there's going to be some rated R content. Well, PG-13. It's not rated R. Anyway, I don't know why Bell uh, brought the heartogram up. Christian Kabbalist. That's such an oxymoron. Oh boy. Bell. Embellishment. Oh, you're killing me with that's terrible. Terrible algorithm. All right, the Tibetan bell. Here we go. So there's some bell stuff here. There, I mean, back to the Enlightenment, the wisdom, knowledge, the purpose of the bell. Andorra, Dore, Diamond Scepter, Vaj. Singing bell. Okay. Alrighty. Well, there's that one. It's interesting. Do your own research. Keep looking it up. Candles. I don't think that you have to think too long about the use of candles in occult. How do you look up the word candles and instantly get the Christmas tree? Well, let's just read it. I just don't care. The so-called Christmas tree, so-called, I like that, is one of the most purely pagan of the modern holiday observances. Modern whitewash attributes the custom of lighted Christmas trees to Protestant reformer Martin Luther, with a charming tale wherein he glimpses the starry sky between the evergreen branches. It's sweet, but hogwash. Luther, who railed against excess, doesn't seem a likely promoter of frivolous decor. The custom of decorating trees in honor of the gods is, in fact, so old it specifically prohibited in the New Testament, which is why our Jewish friends don't have Hanukkah trees. The Christmas tree, like many Christmas customs, originated the ancient Roman New Year festival of Saturnalia, which all of you have probably heard. Much of the same as we do Christmas today, home decoration was emphasized, and the decorations were the evergreen trees, sacred to the sun, sun, pine, holly. Gift giving was also another popular part, but it's all about symbols. So I'm just looking up the symbols. I know turning my head does nothing because the microphones are literally attached to my head, but anyway. Evergreen wreaths, incense, candles, religious figurines, caroling, wassailing, masked processions were other Saturnalia staples that long outlasted the Roman Empire. Saturn is still honored at the new year as Father Time. Boo. Excuse me. I was trying to zoom in on that. It was not working very well. Most of this you all are familiar with, but some maybe not. Mistletoe. That T did not. Anyway, was held sacred to the sun, to the Norse and the Celts of Europe, whose belief about the magical virtues of mistletoe survived into the Christian era. It was for this reason that England's churches banned its use within their walls. Fortunately for hopeful romantics, the prohibition didn't stick. Alrighty. You got all this stuff about Santa. which is just a juxtaposition of the letters for Satan. It could be, based on older language, you could try to say that's just 100% coincidental. Um, maybe so. Maybe so. Familiar with the candy cane, so on and so on. I was just looking up candles, and it brought up all this stuff about Christmas. Jeremiah 10:3, which we've already read. The magical horses that could fly goes back very far. Yeah, there's no way to know anything about the original dude that may or may not have been uh, a real guy. It appears that he was, but anyway, let's move on. So we've got candles. I'm not completely enthralled with this website. If anybody has a better resource, please feel free. It looks like I hit some nerves and everybody bailed on me. Um, bells, Masonic rituals. Yes, they are. They're in many satanic rituals as well. Your Wikipedia is pretty good. That's funny. I'm doing a Christmas video this week. I really hope you watch and comment. Absolutely. Wassail is a drink that, but I have no idea what it means to wassail as a verb. I've had wassail, the beverage. Think it's good stuff, but anyway, got candy canes. I don't know what this is. What is that? What Christmas are? Let's see. Ugh, that's terrible. So Chrismon. What in the world? What is a Chrisman then? Hold on. Are Christmas decorations with Christian symbols on them to help Christians to remember that Christmas is the celebration of Jesus. Oh boy. Ascension Lutheran Church in Danville, blah blah blah. Do you think this stuff is on accident? Do you know the diameter? Speaking of symbols and weird stuff, anybody want to look up? Gosh, that hurts my eyes. Going back and forth. The yellow is just terrible. Ugh. Um, the diameter of the New York uh, New Year's Eve ball that they drop. Anybody want to venture a guess on the diameter of that ball and the repeated pattern shape inside or on the surface of that ball? It's a bunch of pentagrams made up of triangles and literally not making this stuff up. Go look it up. I'll show you here in a minute, but um, I'll show you right now. Fine. But no, the diameter of the I know, SpaceX. I know. I know. It's almost it's almost a meme. We're getting there. I'll show you my meme. Um, what am I looking up? New York City New Year's Eve ball. Okay. Feet. How many feet diameter? I did not do any conversion. Let's see if I can. Here. 50. 24 times, huh? Oh, you're killing me with the donate. If you were actually trustworthy, Wikipedia, I understand that you come in handy, but you're not. You're just not. Bill and Hillary Clinton did it in 2008 and 2009. Oh, here, let me put a space. Oh, okay. Well, there's the. You can look at the ball. Um, and what's this weird little orange shape, double triangle, one upright and the other pointing down? That's a weird symbol that actually has nothing to do with David at all. Provably has absolutely nothing to do with David. Um, and then this is a fascinating pinwheel kind of thing happening to just make absolute sure. See, because if you look here, you're like, oh, those aren't. It looks like a cube. It doesn't look like a pentagram. But then you look at this pinwheel and you're like, oh no, that is definitely pentagram. And then this is just two triangles, you know? Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here at all. But what is the diameter? Oh, that's not what I wanted. There, oh, it's because I was trying to abbreviate. Hmm. Hmm. Is it just coincidence? Maybe, right? It could just always be coincidence, right? Technically, that's four sixes if you break that. I'm not trying to get into gematria, you guys. It actually usually annoys me. The number thing is usually very annoying. However, sometimes it's just too much, too much. It's a bunch of pentagrams, guys. I don't even know what that's about. It's crazy. Okay, where am I? All right, we're here. Go back to some symbols. 1907 was the first ball drop in the New Year's Eve situation. There have been other ball dropping events, uh, such as the resynchronization of time watches, involved a ball dropping event at 1 p.m. in England. Um, in historicity, that's the right word. Um, anyway, but as far as the ball drop for New Year's, regardless of what you think about the shape of the Earth, answer this question. Would it be funny if would it be funny if the powers that be were just putting it right in your face? That's all I'm saying. These are just questions to ask. Regardless of what answer you get, ask the question. Don't be afraid of questions. That's silly. All right, Christmas cards, Christmas Eve, Chris Dingles. Don't know what that is. Colors of Christmas. What happens if I click? Yeah, does that. Green and red and gold, white, blue, purple. Yeah, so blue and purple were mentioned in Jeremiah 10. It's kind of interesting. Oh, look, they even say it. Gold is the color of the sun and light. Do you know what those stand for? So we've got to do this each time. Ugh, ugh, it's hurting my eyes, yo. Really don't like that color. I mean, I like yellow, just not on my computer screen. You probably have heard about the holly and the ivy and the Roman stuff around that. I don't know what Jesse trees are. Medieval times. Okay. Christians really tried, especially with the Catholic Church, they really tried to co-opt the Christmas thing. And it became ingrained so much into tradition and culture of nearly every European culture that it's so hard. The just it's in the fabric of Western civilization. It just is. It just is. Hey, Ian Bear Pig, what's going on? Well, there's a difference between round and sphere. Just, yeah, just so you know. But yeah, share the verse. And, dude, I totally, the one of the most important things is there's this guy on YouTube that I don't like, but it doesn't matter. There's $300,000 on the table for anybody that can provide a physical experiment that can be performed um, by humans on the ground, um, if you and that proves the curvature. Obviously, you'd want to use water somehow, some way, and yeah. Anyway, $300,000. So if you have a way to prove the curvature of the Earth, the globularness of it, please do that. And then, I'm sure you'd be generous because I told you about it. But seriously, if you can do it, just please do it because that'd be really cool. Hello, hello, Curious Kiwi and Australian Bear. So you used to be in New Zealand and you moved to Australia? I love the Kiwi accent. A Scottish accent to me is number one in the world, and Kiwi is number two, especially because of VLDL, Viva La Dirt League. They're Kiwis. Pretty cool guys. But anyway, we're looking at the symbolism and the occult um, ties to these symbols. So what about mince pies? I don't think I'm going to find anything. Poinsettias. Let's try that one. It's a lot of symbols. Masonic symbols. Oh, the flower of life. That's hilarious that that is related to Masonic. That is really funny. I think it's funny. You might not think anything of it. Don't worry about it. Poinsettias. Did I misspell it? Poinsettias. Nope. No, I didn't. Flower. Hand and a heart with chains. That's interesting. Um, hmm. Interesting that the Kludok would be in there. All right, I'm getting way rabbit trailed right now because that website is not helping. Um, oh, wassailing and mumming. What in the world is that? Weishel means good health. Okay. Here we come, a wassailing among the leaves of grain. Yeah. Mumming, ancient pagan custom that was an excuse for people to have a party at Christmas, means making diversion in disguise. Men and women would swap clothes. Sounds completely legit. Sarcasm. Sarcasm is heavy. Mummers. Mummering. I have never heard of that. Goes back to Roman times. Of course it did. Dress up parties at New Year. Mm-hmm. St. Thomas's Day, the shortest day of the year. Mumping, glazing, Gussards. Thomasing. Interesting. Just, I guess we'll keep the yellow. I hate it, but I'll find a different website maybe. The Christmas pickle. That's actually kind of interesting. What does that mean? What does the Christmas pickle mean? No. This website's not very helpful. Pickle's like way obscure as far as the symbol goes. I'm more interested in the star, which obviously very Luciferian-ish. Then you've got the candles, pagan rituals. I don't know, guys. I don't know. There's just if you, I don't know. Get off that crazy yellow screen as my eyes adjust. All right, let's check this out. What's going on? Um, yeah, I know, Ian Bear Pig. I know about the bending the metal. I know. I didn't quite understand what convergence, the converging points of a plane and perspective that easily explained what I was talking about on the water. That was frustrating. But yeah, I figured that out. Poured a small glass of whiskey. Oh, I'm going crazy to work. Playing music in body. Now I'm here. Australia. We 300,000. Yeah, 300,000 guys. Er, how do you know Eratosthenes proved the Earth was round? How do you know that? How, and there's a lot of holes in that story, by the way. And if he did it, if he literally did do that, then why can't somebody do that today and rake in $300,000? Just saying. All right, could be round and flat. I know, I know. It's a spheroid because it is wider. At the, how do you know? What? How do you know that it's wider at the equator? Round, unless it's explicitly stated otherwise. With this type of southern hemisphere is wider than the equator, and the Earth is pear-shaped according to the Black Bill Nye. You could just call him Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's all good. I am a civil engineer, land surveyor, and nothing ever takes into account the curve of the Earth. I didn't realize that about you, Ian Bear Pig. That's pretty funny. Um, I am not convinced either argument in regards to the nature of this world. And there's a good reason for that, curious Kiwi. Um, Ecclesiastes 8:17 is a big reason why. Um, I'm an engineer too, biomedical though. Biomedical engineer. Yeah, that won't help you with the shape of the earth. But yeah, Ecclesiastes 8:17. Um, open to all arguments. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, if you guys could go make 300 grand, I know you'd share a little bit with me. I mean, just a little. Just a little. Big B, as long as you don't blaspheme Jesus' time. Yeah, he wouldn't do that. Big B's legit. For all intents, it's intense. INTENTS. It's the funniest phrase to me. Intensive purposes. It's intense and purpose. Oh gosh. In this stream I have, but not really. One scripture and then I'm done. Yeah, it's fine. I love the Bible. Let's read the Bible. Well, I'm always up for reading the Bible. Um, Isaiah 40:22. Isaiah 40:22. Oh yeah. See the way I have my see the way that my bank account works. You got the check-ins and the savings. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's not that funny. I get it. I get it. All right, 35, 36. Isaiah is so long. All right, 40 what? 22? Oh my gosh, I take that for granted. Are you also gonna say like things like oh, what's that other word? Uh, irre irregardless is another one that people say. And this, and the, sorry, I shouldn't laugh. He who stretches out the heavens like gauze curtains and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. Bigby. Is this some kind of extra dimensional tent that stretches in all directions? That verse doesn't help. I mean, it was a good effort. Sorry. It was a good effort, but and then right above it, has it not been told from you or told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? I know that the foundations of the earth is talking about time in that verse, not actual foundations. Not that it doesn't talk about that too. Um, anyway, I don't know. I don't think that that verse helps. Oh wow, you guys are killing it with these mess ups of quotes. Couldn't care less instead of could care less. It's just kind of funny. Not going to be drawn into this. That's fine. I just think it's funny. Alrighty. So traditions, though. So here's my point. I watched probably Alexandra's video because I just want as many perspectives as possible, a little bit more clear thinking on the topics. And here, let me switch. We'll do this. And the thing is, two things stood out. Mark chapter 7. Mark chapter 7. And I think that everything hinges on. So here's what I'm just give you a little more context. All of the traditions behind Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Fourth of July. I mean, whatever. Who created these things? What are their symbols? What are the traditions? What are the behaviors? What are the objects? You've got things like the Advent calendar. You've got things like the Nativity, the angels, stars, a lot of different things that are the objects of focus during the season of Christmas. And the question is, do any of those objects violate the verse? Do not learn the ways of the nations, or be terrified by the signs in the heavens through the nations themselves. Sorry, though the nations themselves are terrified by them, for the customs of the peoples are worthless. Let's go back. Isn't this interesting how early that showed up? This is the book of Jeremiah, guys. It's Old Testament stuff. The circumcision of the heart is not a New Testament concept. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. I'm just reading. Just trying to see what was right before that. This is a condemnation for those that are not in the right spirit, so to speak. It's interesting. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. Not thing makes it difficult for me to let go of this. Earthquakes and volcanoes. Curious Kiwi. My answer for everything growing up was it's like that because that's the way God made it, which works no matter what the shape is. Um, the, tectonic plates, for instance, can easily grind regardless of the shape. That's completely they're mutually exclusive concepts. So as far as earthquakes and volcanoes, tectonic plate movement, if that is a thing, is not dependent on a specific shape. Um, just like in a bowl of Cheerios, the Cheerios move around in a circle. So anyway, I don't know. Ecclesiastes 8:17. That's all I say over and over again. But yeah, as far as earthquakes and volcanoes, prove me wrong. Oh well, I don't know. Prove you wrong about that it doesn't matter. Full disclosure, I was vehement atheist until about 6 months ago, just finding my path back to Christianity at the moment. So my theology is terrible, bro. That's it's great. Um, I I'm glad that you don't call it the Christian thing, as I've heard some getting back into this Christian thing. Um, so that's a good step in the right direction. Uh, recognize that truth is in the one who is the truth, and that one who is in the truth provide us with the truth, which is his word, the Bible. So, though there are very many mysteries on this planet, very many confusing things, um, we can always depend and rest in the truth of God. So, anyway, um, let's see here. There was something else I was gonna go over. Weird sounds. Um, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. Yes. So, um, all right, we might look at that, that, that. Alrighty. Alright, let's look at some articles together. This is for all of us to more clearly grasp and understand these things together. Cheerios are poison. They're made from oatmeal, allegedly. Starting down the path when I had a lovely Christian lady come knocking with books. Felt God ordained. That's awesome. Very good. Just make sure that the books were the Bible. You want to stay away from Watchtower. Uh, Jehovah's Witness religion was created by an Illuminati Freemason. Look it up if you're interested. And Mormonism is a completely false religion, and they rewrote the entirety of the Bible, we call it the Book of Mormon, and say that there's a new gospel, which is exactly what the Bible warns against. Yeah, they're accursed for what they've said. So don't follow the Freemason religion of Jehovah's Witnesses, aka the Watchtower, and the Mormons, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is just it's very weird. There's a lot of denominations that use the word Jesus Christ in their denomination name that are not legit. Sad. But the Bible, just read the Bible. It's all good. All right, let's see what's going on here. Verse posted, it mentions ball. Go deep. Study that verse I posted. It mentions ball. Okay. If you're talking about Isaiah that I already read, I mean, are you okay? That's fine. We could do this. We'll blue letter Bible this real quick. Isaiah 40:22. I'm sure people have looked this verse up 15 million times. Chug, chug. Where is it? Where's chug? I don't even see it. It's fine. Masculine noun. Good. Oh, interesting. Compass. I like that. Vault. Vault of the heavens. Circuit. A compass. Very fascinating. So yeah, according to the Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it does use the word sphere in that lexicon. Used of the arc or vault of the sky. Like hemisphere, for instance, right? So Hug is used there. Hug is used there. It's interesting. Only 3 uses. Hug. Yeah, don't say chug. Say Hug. Oh, it's fascinating. What a limited root word etymology. That's what we're already on. Is 2329, 2328. Yeah, let's dig deeper. Deeper. Hagag. A primitive root of Hagag. Okay. To encircle, to encompass, describe circle, draw round, make a circle, to encircle, to encompass. Okay. Syriac, to go in a circle. Mahuga. Mahuga. Job 26:10. Okay, interesting. Let's go more primitive. Chagag. Keep feast, celebrate, keep solemn. Holy day, dancing, real to and fro. Yep, too obscure. Not all the words are perfectly connected like that, but this is still Hug, so it's very close. He hath encompassed the waters with bounds. The waters have boundaries until the day and night come to an end. Yeah, that's interesting. Wonder what that word means. Bounds. Oh, weird. Hook. Hug and hook. All right, hook. The waters are limited. They have a boundary. It's interesting. Hook. Time, quantity, appointed, bound, commandment, convenient, custom, decree, law, measure. It's a definite zone of the water. Anyway, enough. 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 Um, let's go back to these articles and we'll do some reading. All right. Thanks, Big B. Nice to see you here and everything. Um, I am trying to rewire my guitar right now, so if I'm slow to interact with the chat, that's fine. David Stack was raised Mormon. Yeah, that's probably why he's now an agnostic, unfortunately. Um, praying that Devin Stack learns about the real Jesus. 16 upvotes. Wow, that's kind of cool. Thank you. Log in to hit another Rogan. Invariably still rated you. I really enjoyed explaining the Christmas is about the birth of Jesus and who Jesus is. I really enjoyed the explaining Christmas about the birth of Jesus. Who Jesus was to my kids the other day. Previous Christmases, Jesus was not acknowledged. Felt good to tell them about it. Oh yeah, yeah for sure. Curious. Yeah, yeah. Um, any Bible that would use the word sphere is taking a little bit of a leap and bound. Um, did not have a word for sphere. They used the word ball for ball. Okay, like they didn't have the word for grandfather. They didn't have a word for sphere. Enough. Much love, everyone. Um, I don't even understand what that comment was about, Ian. You're doing yeoman's work. All right, let's get into this. Let's read the pagan origins of holly. In Roman mythology, holly was the sacred plant of the god Saturn, and to honor him, at the Saturnalia festival, the Romans gave each other gifts of holly wreaths. All right, let's move on. Mistletoe was revered as a sacred plant by the Celts, the Norse, and the North American Native Americans. That felt really weird to say. Druids believed the mistletoe could protect against thunder and lightning. Priests would use a golden sickle to cut a piece of mistletoe from an oak tree, catching the branches before they reached the ground. The mistletoe would then be cut into small pieces and distributed amongst the people. The Roman god Bacchus wore ivy. Ivy was a symbol of Bacchus, who was the god of wine and revelry. He wore it in his crown. Pagans believed ivy to be a symbol of eternal life. Because of the pagan connotations surrounding ivy, early Christians did not use ivy to decorate the inside of their churches, preferring to use it as an outdoor decoration because that made it okay. Laurel or bay leaves were popular with pagan Romans because the leaves were sacred to Apollo, the sun god. The ancient Romans used decorative wreaths made with laurel wreaths as a sign of victory, and it is believed that this is where the seasonal hanging of wreaths on doors came from. The pagan god Odin. Despite the fact that our modern day image of Father Christmas has largely been shaped by an 1830s Coca-Cola advertising campaign, he most definitely has pagan roots. Children all over the world are told that Father Christmas developed from St. Nicholas. But those people that follow paganism know there's more to the story than that. There was a pagan god named Odin, often depicted as a chubby old man with a white beard who wore a long flowing cloak. Gifts. The customs of giving presents at Christmas originated from Saturnalia, the Roman feast of Saturn. The gifts that the Romans gave to each other were small and given for luck. Charity towards those who were less fortunate was also very popular at this time of year. Now, let me take a quick little pause. Let me pause real quick because, it's an intense topic. And as has happened several times tonight, people have come, people have gone. It's an intense topic. What do you hold dear? But let me point something out. I did not watch it, but my wife watched it. Saving Christmas. She told me about it. Somewhat sufficient for, I get the premise. Okay. Many will say, it doesn't mean that to me. Many will say, but these principles of giving and generosity and the parallels between the gifts that the three wise men gave Jesus, so on and so on. These are important lessons to teach your children. These are valuable. These are beautiful. They are godly, even, right? And we do know that Satan takes things of God and twists them. He co ops. He's the first to co op. I get that. I get that. But don't stop asking questions just because you like something, whether it be a tree because you like the way it looks in your house with the decorations. Don't not ask the question. Double negative. Ask the question. Declarative statement. Ask the question. Is this right? Is this good? Does this honor God? And if you have to say, no, not exactly, but I like it, keep on asking. Keep on asking the question. because that just might not be good enough. And I don't even know. What does F9 do? Does F9 do anything? Hopefully nothing, because I'm pushing it down. I need to clean my keyboard. So annoying. All right. That was my aside. Gift giving. And yes, programming is going to be very strong around things that have money. It is very important to remember how you will encounter programming that influences your decision making if you're not paying attention. And even when you are, because programming is very insidious. Wassailing is an ancient custom that is not seen very often today. The word derives from the Anglo-Saxon phrase "waes hel", which translates to good health. The wassail drink was originally made from molten ale, curdled cream. Whoa, I had no idea it had all that. Wow. Roasted apples, eggs, spices, and sugar, and was served from large silver bowls. Why silver? Because silver is antimicrobial, maybe holding as much as 10 gallons. So that would have actually prevented any nastiness from, anyway, not prevented, but limited. Modern day alternative, this would be mulled wine, red wine, and spices that is served hot. I wouldn't mind getting a recipe to that original. Curdled cream, though. Interesting. The traditional Christmas colors are green and red, complementary colors that represent fertility. Pagan-derived decorations that are still seen at Christmas time include green leaves and red berries of holly, mistletoe, and wreaths. Red and green are the traditional colors for Christmas tree baubles, but in recent years, many more colors have become available, often changing yearly with the latest fashions. In recent years, turquoise, pink, purple, and orange have been seen on the best dressed trees. Carols have been sung for thousands of years, but they were not originally Christmas carols. Originally, they were pagan songs that were sung at the celebrations surrounding the winter solstice festival. The word carol actually means song or dance of joy and praise. They were written and sung during all four seasons, but it was only the tradition of singing them at Christmas that survived. Europeans burned a Yule log. I don't care. Winter solstice was celebrated all over Europe, and as nobody was really sure when Jesus was actually born, early Christians altered their existing pagan festivities to celebrate the birth of Jesus during the same time. This is fact, not speculation, and a sad fact. It should distress you to some degree because it's a cop out. And just keep asking questions. If we don't know, like this is a question, if we don't know the exact day that Jesus was born, is it a commandment of God to celebrate his birthday? It's just a question. It's just a question. It's worth asking. It's worth asking. Well, I mean, shouldn't you? It's a question. Don't get offended by it. Just ask the question. See what kind of answers you can think up. Is it, I mean, yeah, is it a commandment of God? It's worth asking. All right. It is hard for us to understand how important sunlight was to our ancestors and how it affected their quality of life. Typically, people would live and work during daylight hours, so the long and dark winter months must have seemed never ending. Also, they would have been relying on their store of grains and crops from the previous summer to tide them over until the following year, and would be eager to plant new crops and receive some fresh food to eat. Candles were used during Saturnalia. Throughout history, candles have been used to ward off darkness and evil. Luciferian. The first use of candles in December was during the Roman Saturnalia festival, where tall tapers of wax were often offered to Saturn as a symbol of his light and also given as a gift to guests. The pagans also used candles during their Yule festivities, with candlelight bonfires being used to welcome the nights beginning to get lighter. As Christianity became more widespread, candles were put at the front windows of houses in order to guide Jesus as he went from house to house on Christmas Eve. Does that seem at all suspicious to you? It does me. Also, where's the biggest Christmas tree? This is not going to give me a direct answer. All right, well, it is important to point this one out. Whoops. What in the world? Oh, that's what I meant to do. The Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. That's a 1987 photo, 5 years before Home Alone 2, just in case you were wondering. 78 foot tall, 18,000 lights. There's a 2016 photo. Oh, look at that. Oh, they made it a thing in 1994. I bet it had something to do with Home Alone 2, which was filmed. Ah, right there. December 3rd, 1991. What is that about? Lighting ceremony, original location. Oh, these are the lighting ceremonies. How weird. Well, anyway, that's ranged from 85 to, wow, 94 feet. It's pretty serious. Holy moly. 100 foot. I missed that one. In 99. Would you look at that? Just look at it. So yeah, they've got one right now. 77 foot. 100 foot. But anyway, here's one in 2016. Yep. Some of you may go, well, what does Rockefeller have anything to do with it? And then when you watch Home Alone 2 and you see the boy, Macaulay Culkin, praying to the tree, it kind of makes you scratch your head. And then when you go, well, what about Rockefeller? Why is one of the biggest trees in New York at the Rockefeller Center? It's a little suspicious, just a tiny little bit suspicious. All right. Let's see what else we can read about here. Any new information at all? Trees, the book of Jeremiah says not to learn the ways of the heathen. Yep, we read that tonight. I don't have what in the world. Put candies and cakes on it. Famous Rockefeller. Well, look at that. The famous Rockefeller tree is around the Sunken Plaza, which has the statue of Prometheus. This statue honors the story of Prometheus, who stole fire of illumination from gods and gave it to mankind, enlightening them with wisdom. This is important to the occult beliefs and Luciferians, as it points out the ability to transform man to God without the assistance of a spiritual God. Yeah. David Rockefeller himself said, "Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalist and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that is the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it." Yeah. Yeah, curious. Thanks for hanging out. Glad to see you here. Come back sometime if YouTube allows me to continue this endeavor. We will see. Alrighty. Mistletoe. Berries poisonous, can give you diarrhea, cute aggression. Mistletoe was a fertility plant. The druids hence for the kissing beneath it. It held a symbol for romance and vitality because of this. Ooh. They're saying the wreath is associated with this? It's weird. Oh, the obelisk. Yes, yes, yes. Representing the male phallus and female fertility. The obelisk was moved from Egypt. Oh, that came from Egypt. That's wow. To the Circus of Nero in Rome, where it was witnessed countless Christian martyrdoms and executions. Yep, emanating from the present location of the Vatican. Its third move, make it a sundial. If the obelisk shadow lies within one of the 8 sets of lines, it will indicate a sacrifice night. Wow. Well, would you look at that? That is the first time I've ever seen that one. So thanks for the subscription. And that was fascinating. Was not expecting all of that. Every time somebody subscribes. Yeehaw. That was wow. That was special. Alrighty. Yeah, that's weird. Nothing to see here. Let's move on. Yeah, that's ugly. Elves. Demonic ugly creatures. During the late 1500s, interesting timing there. Something else happened in the late 1500s, guys. I wonder what that was. Eventually to become what we know of today. Strangely enough, there's a phenomenon known as the elf on the shelf, where parents help this elf hide throughout the house and watch children decide if they've been naughty or nice. Oh, that's really creepy. I didn't know anything about this, but I keep on hearing people talk about it. Or I used to a couple of years ago heard people talk about how fun the elf in the shelf was stuff. When children enter the play world of the elf on the shelf, they accept a series of practices and rules associated with the larger story. This is, of course, not unique to the elf on the shelf. Many children's games, including board games and video games, require children to participate while following a prescribed set of rules. The difference, however, is that in other games, the child role plays a character, or the child imagines him or herself within a play world of the game, but the role play does not enter the child's real world as part of the game. As well, in most games, the time of play is delineated while the game goes on, and the play on blah blah blah. Elf on the Shelf presents a unique and prescriptive form of play that blurs the distinction between play and real life. Children who participate play with the Elf on the Shelf doll have to contend with the rules at all times during the day. They may not touch the doll. They must accept that the doll watches them at all times with the purpose of reporting to Santa Claus. This is different from more conventional play with dolls, where children create play worlds born of their imagination, moving dolls and determining interactions with other people and other dolls. Rather, the hands-off play demanded by the elf is limited to finding but not touching the elf on the shelf every morning and acquiescing to surveillance during the waking hours under the elf's watchful eye. The elf on the shelf controls all parameters of play, who can do and touch what. It ultimately attempts to dictate the child's behavior outside of time used for play. Sounds like programming to me, guys. Programming around being comfortable with Big Brother. That's what my speculation would be, that is. Anyway, just plugged in my guitar, got sound on the first try. This is not typical. Well, sounds good. I mean, the news. Gaze of the elf, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's really creepy. I don't like that. Oh, look. What do you know? A YouTube video that they took down. Are you surprised at all? Nope. Somebody said there's no such thing as the Illuminati. Okay, done with that website. It's all good, Ian. And if there's somebody else, say hello. Glad to see you here. We're going to go for a little bit longer, not too much longer. We're just finishing up some of these concepts of what you hold dear and asking questions. Ask questions, guys. Ask questions. All right. Winter solstice period extends 13 weeks. I don't know what that means. December 21st is Yule. December 21st through 22nd is winter solstice / Yule, one of Illuminati's human sacrifice nights. 25th, Holy Roman Christmas, February 1st and 2nd, Candlemas, and Imbolg, aka Groundhog's Day, one of the Illuminati's human sacrifice nights. I did not know that. Interesting. And then February 14th, Valentine's Day. Consider the pagan roots of our popular symbols of Christmas. Symbols, guys. Ask yourself some questions, though. Is it worth it? There's a lot of rationalization that is taking place for Christians specifically to make this okay in their brain. And that's my point, is I want to rationalize less and be more of a childlike faith related to these things. Christmas tree. The sacred tree of the winter god, Druids believed the spirit of their gods resided in the tree. Most ancient pagans knew the tree represented Nimrod, reincarnated into Tammuz. Pagans also looked upon the tree as a phallic symbol. Star, Pentalpha, the five-pointed star. The pentalpha is a powerful symbol of Satan, second only to the hexagram. The star is the sacred symbol of Nimrod and has nothing whatsoever to do with Christianity. Candles represent the sun god's newly born fire. Pagans the world over love and use candles in their rituals and ceremonies. Certain colors are also thought to represent specific powers. The extensive use of candles is usually a very good indication that the service is pagan, no matter what the outward trappings may be. Mistletoe is the sacred plant of the Druids, symbolizing pagan blessings of fertility. Thus, kissing under the mistletoe is the first step of the reproductive cycle. Witches also use white berries in potions. Wreaths are circular, and so they represent the female sexual organs. Wreaths are associated with fertility and the circle of life. Santa Claus, aka Satan Claus, former Satanists have told me that Santa is an anagram for Satan. In the New Age, the god Sanat Kamura is most definitely an anagram for Satan. The mythical attributes and powers ascribed to Santa, are eerily close to those possessed of Jesus Christ. Reindeer, horned animals representing the horned god or the stag god of pagan religion. Santa's traditional number of reindeer and his team is 8. Is in Satanic Gematria, 8 is the number of new beginnings or the cycle of reincarnation. The Illuminati views the number 8 as the symbol of their new world order. Elves are imp-like creatures who are Satan's little helpers. They are also demons. Green and red are the traditional colors of the season, as they are the traditional. Why that picture? That's sad. Stop. It's ridiculous. It's just sad to, like, if your kid did that, why would you post that? December 25th is known as the Nativity of the Sun. Oh, I skipped. Green and red are the traditional colors of the season, as they are the traditional pagan colors of winter. Green is Satan's favorite color, so it is appropriate. How would you know that? What does that even mean? How would he? Why would it be his favorite color? And how do you know that? Ask questions. Test all things. Should be one of the traditional colors for red is color human blood. Satan's highest form of sacrifice. Okay. Communism, doctorism. Yeah, okay. Wow. Getting a little weak on number 9 there, but it's okay. We'll continue. State is the birthday of Tammuz, the sun, the reincarnated sun god. Traditionally, December 21st is known as Yule. The Roman Catholic Church moved the celebration of Yule to December 25th. December 25th is known to the Romans as Saturnalia, a time of deliberate debauchery. Drinking through repeated toasting, known as wassail, was a key to the debauchery of this celebration. Fornication was symbolized by the mistletoe, and the entire event was finished with a great feast, the Christmas dinner. I have my theories about the YouTube purge alleged, and I do not believe that we have much to worry about, basically. Yeah, I'm almost done here. Even the name Christmas is pagan. Christi meant Christ, while Mass meant Mass. That's a big stretch. Since all pagan masses are commemorating death, the name Christmas literally means the death of Christ. Okay, deeper meaning lies in the mention of Christ without specifying Jesus, thus Antichrist is in view here. The pagans celebrate Christmas as a celebration of their coming Antichrist, who deal with the death blow to the Jesus Christ of Christianity. That seems kind of convoluted, but spring equinox, Roman Saturnalia. Okay, yeah, the pyramid. It's trimmed that way too. I mean, it is trimmed to be very triangular. Very. The more triangular, the better. Like, that's part of the programming. If you have a tree that's not very triangular, then it's seen as not as good. With the all seeing eye up top. Ask questions, guys. Phallic symbol, the triangle, the pyramid. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, this is an important reminder too. Let's see if I can. There we go. Horus, Osiris, Attis, Krishna, Zoroaster, Mithra, Prometheus, Heracles, Dionysus, Tammuz, Adonis, and Hermes were all born on the 25th, allegedly. So it's worth asking questions. It's worth asking questions, guys. Hello, Johnny. Hey, I just like to say your name. Welcome, Johnny. Glad to see you. Appreciate you um, hanging out and can have the rainbow. Well, that's a thing. We can take December 25th. That's funny, Ian. Um, did you did you categorize your videos as children videos? No, I actually would prefer not to associate because then they'll accuse me of child abuse or whatever for bringing these topics up. Um, but that's an interesting thing you point out. Give me just a moment. Just a moment. Man, I forget this guy's name, and I actually wanted to follow up and do more research. Um, so just keep this in mind. The modern rainbow flag is a six-colored flag, which is important. Um, yeah. Need to find this guy, Gilbert Baker. That's what I. Oh, he died in 2017. I wonder why or what he died of. Just want to do this one. His father was a judge, a teacher. Baker. Baker. Any more about this guy? It's just the best we're going to be able to do. So I heard a guy say Joel Olstein today, and I almost lost it. I thought that was hysterical. Oh, this is very important, by the way. So it originally had 8, apparently. And it now has 6. Yeah, but I wanted to learn more about this guy. Busty Ross. Wow, like Betsy Ross, but Busty Ross. They gave him that nickname. GilbertBaker.com. Yeah, I just wanted to see more about his lineage. Why would I be interested in his lineage? I have no idea. Have no idea. Why does it only talk about his mother and grandmother? Huh? Gilbert Baker. I don't know, guys. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. What they're gonna say something about the Jesus fish? Oh, okay. Not everything is. Anyway, what's going on? Confused and mental for sure, for sure. If your video quality qualifies children's content and you label it adult content, you could be taken down. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out after January 1st. Who's who is who's to say what is children's content? That doesn't even make any sense. That it would be the opposite of what you said makes more sense, but keeping stuff from children is that's you're confusing me. That just hurts. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that there are certain symbols that you should look out for and recognize. Do you have any idea what that might look like? Star of yeah, I don't know. Not sure. Not sure, but I do have something to show you. Symbol. Earth. See if I can find this real quick. Well, yeah, that's creepy. No, not that one. Definitely not that one. No. I wanted to find a really good meme, but now I can't find it. It was a good meme. Well, image thing. What is this? What is this symbol? Okay. Moon. Why can't I find it, guys? Why can't I find it? Maybe I saved it. Let's see. Let's see if I saved it. I don't mean to be ignoring you guys by any means. I'm just looking for something that I wanted to share with you that I actually thought was pretty epic. But I might not have saved it, which is frustrating. Oh boy. I guess I didn't. What is happening in the chat? Ian, you're being awkward and cryptic. I have no idea what you're talking about. First of all, Johnny is a friend. How much have you drinking tonight there, Ian? Okay. So what Ian is trying to say is he's similar in personality to me and doesn't know how to tell a good joke, and things come out super awkward. And anyone have the Satanist Earth Sun Moon symbol meme? I need that one. Somebody will share it with me, and then I'll share it with you. Just making sure I wasn't accidentally streaming my my Discord with you. Oh, oh, that's why. Wait, when did Owen Gospel Bearer live? When is this from? Did Owen Benjamin post my thing? What? That's why so many people came to hang out. So Owen, here I'll share my screen with you. So that's so cool. I think it's Coddington. Come at me, bro. That's awesome. What in the world? Very cool. I always appreciate the support. So 4 retweets and 16 likes. Not bad. Not bad. It's funny because I'm banned on his Owen Bitchman live channel. So that's what makes it a little tiny bit funny. But anyway, that I do think that that's kind of cool. Um, yeah, I thought it was Coddington Bear more than likely, but I mean, he knows that I've been around for a while. Um, all right, let me go back to the chat and find out if they gave me the. Oh, come on, please, someone share the meme with the sun, moon, and earth panic symbol. Anyway, oh, okay, gotcha. Absurdity. It looks like a uh, triangle shady thing like this. Let me see here. Give me a moment, guys. Just a moment. See, blah 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 blah. I want to share this because I think it's important. Um, good grief, this stuff is not easy to find though. I'll tell you what. There, that's the symbol. Um, whoops. Uh, sun, moon, meme with this symbol. Oh, you're killing me. Please. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm probably boring every human alive to death because I just can't seem to. Nobody is helping me out. Which chat am I in? I'm in number 2. Yeah, that's where everybody's at. The Discord is totally blowing up right now, by the way. There's 46 people in there right now. Just must be pretty crazy. Anyway, nobody is listening. Well, somebody was listening, but they just don't have what I was looking for. Who was it? Oh, Flat Earth. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. Thank you. We want to save this image. I'll open the original and we will Hold on, hold on, hold on. My buddy helped me out. My buddy helped me out. All right, now I can show you. Let me get rid of that. All right, you tell me. Tell me what you think of this. You tell me what you think. Coincidence? Is it? Is it at all just just a coincidence? What do you think, guys? Just a little suspicious. I would keep asking questions. I would keep asking questions. All right, guys. Are they dated? I'm not sure what that means. I don't know what that means. Are they dated? Ooh, okay. So anyway, it is time to wrap this up. It is time to say goodnight. I Here's the thing. Let's just give some parting words here. Okay. Are the images dated? I don't know. I, I don't know what images you're referring to. Um, uh, oh, well, the symbol, the Luciferian satanic symbol. Um, you're saying which of those is older? That's that's a good question because the sun, the earth, and the moon and heliocentrism is 500 years old. How old is the concept of heliocentrism is 500 years old. How old is the symbol for Satan or Luciferianism? That symbol probably goes back further. So I don't know. Yeah, took me a second, but yeah, I get what you're saying. But I'll look that up. It's an interesting little rabbit trail. All right. So here's my point. What do you hold dear? If you find yourself saying, I couldn't live without, if you find yourself saying, there's nothing I love more, that's like the greatest thing in the world. superlatives in general. Those are the things you hold dear. I couldn't live without. I need it to live. I think without it I would die. These superlatives that you may or may not attribute to things, to created things, obviously, if you think about it, if you're honest with yourself, you know that that is not a good position. It's not. If it breaks your heart to think of a Christmas without a Christmas tree, then you're obviously not ready to give up the concept of Christmas in the first place. If you think you can participate in the holiday and honor Christ after reading Jeremiah chapter 10, that is obviously going to be between you and God. And I don't say that in a menacing kind of way, but I say that in a kind of way as keep asking questions, be honest, and don't be afraid of saying no to the world. One of the things that keeps popping up in my mind as I think through this and realize that I will inevitably wind up in conversations with family that disagrees, I find myself with this statement popping into my head. To someone that is more blue pilled in your family, but claims to be a Christian, questions are helpful. Asking maybe this question: would you expect someone who believes the Bible, trusts the Bible, cares about the Bible, to fashion their life to look more like the Bible over time or less like the Bible over time? And specifically, when I say less like the Bible, I mean more like popular culture. That's an appropriation at best. Before you got here, Johnny, I went over all the different symbolism. Historically, the star has to do with Saturn. It has to do with Luciferian roots that predate Jesus. So maybe, but then there's Jeremiah 10. And there's also, let's see here, there is also a good verse that was shared earlier. Very good verse, if I can find it again. Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. Colossians 2:8. It might, Johnny, it might. It is undeniable that there is a connection between almost every decoration you could imagine and something in the occult world that was part of tradition prior to Jesus. Furthermore, in an effort to gain popularity and increase the numbers in the church, the Catholic Church adopted these holidays as a way to be more seeker friendly. And this is a pattern that the church has repeated throughout the millennia. And the church has been criticized for being seeker friendly, even in the midst of being seeker friendly. Anyway, the Luciferians are liars. Absolutely. That is true. And that's why the vast majority of people feel perfectly comfortable with these symbols. And they imagine these symbols to be other things than they are, which may or may not be, what's the word for it? Sufficient, a sufficient shield, so to speak, from what is true and what is right, what is good. There's not. There's deductive reasoning that leads the vast majority of historians um, to most clearly suspect September. Um, but there are many, many ancient historical references to, I think it's at least 16 different pagan gods that were related to December 25th. It's not a happy thing. It's not a happy thing. But my encouragement to anybody watching this video is simply to ask questions. Um, ask questions. Is it worth it? Why are you doing the thing that you're doing? That's a good one. Why are you doing it? You know, I think that I would have answered that question something along the lines of I like it. I like having something that is different. These are the sorts of things I would have said about the tree, for instance, and the decorations. It really goes back to tradition, nostalgia, and you can appropriate it, which has obviously taken place. But let me leave you with an analogy. There is no question whatsoever, if you do just the most rudimentary research, that the roots of Christmas, Saturnalia, 100% pagan. And anything apart from that is appropriation. Is appropriation adequate, sufficient for turning that which is evil into something that is not evil? Here's my analogy. This may resonate with some of you. I personally didn't find it any interest whatsoever to patronize this establishment, just for reference sake. But here's a good analogy for you. You may have heard people say, dude, I just go there for the wings. I just like the wings. Some of you immediately know what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, the logo includes an owl, also an occult symbol, just throw that out there. And it has an H, that the establishment starts with the letter H, and it's got two O's that also are euphemistic, and they serve wings. And people claim to go there for the wings. I don't care about the waitresses. It's about the wings. This is what they say. And everybody usually just calls out their nonsense for what it is. But when you make it personal, when you make it something that people hold so dear, something that is completely entrenched over multiple, just more, over thousands of years, a tradition that's completely so deep in our culture that it feels impossible to recognize it for what it is. For some reason, that's one of the best analogies that came to mind. Um, for the female viewers that, for some unforeknown reason, made it to the 3 hour mark of this video, yoga. I don't do yoga for the spiritual aspects. I mean, there's dudes that do yoga too, but I don't I don't do it for the spiritual. I just do it for the exercise. I call it sports yoga. It's not about the different positions that allow certain spirits to enter my body according to the actual yoga practices. I mean, if I don't want them to enter my body, they won't. And as the Bible says, you know, a house, can't have can't serve two masters. And if it's already occupied, if my soul is already occupied, then demons aren't going to come in. So that absolves me of any responsibility to participate in Eastern spiritualism or anything like that whatsoever. I can do anything because God is in me. Am I being a little too harsh or sarcastic? Oh no. Ask some questions. Hmm. Is it a little rude to those that are maybe practicing and trying to figure out for themselves? Maybe so. Sometimes jarring communication gets you to ask more questions, which is all I'm wanting you to do. So, is yoga a good metaphor for the celebration of Christmas and the excuses that we make to do the things that we want to do because we feel like there is no other way? Many people would argue that, I mean, if I can't do yoga, then I mean, what can I do? I mean, it's all basically the same. I mean, how am I supposed to stretch certain parts of my body if I'm not doing it in the way that they do it? Ask that question. How can I treat my body with respect and health and also not participate in paganism? It's a good question to ask. There's probably some pretty good answers if you think about it. And does anybody really go to the H place for the wings? And do people celebrate Christmas without being complicit in sin? Ask the question. Is the answer yes? Maybe. I don't know. Is it a sin to have a tree inside of your house? That question sounds absurd, in my opinion, and I don't directly know the answer. Is it a sin to put that tree in your house and affix it according to the verses of Jeremiah 10, and then put decorations on it? I don't directly know. Is it honoring to God to follow in the footsteps of the traditions of many centuries while thinking about Jesus, his birth, the honoring of him, and the grand narrative of what we know as the Nativity that also has other stories associated with it, all the while knowing that it's at the wrong time of the year, but making excuses like it's just the best we can do? Is it really the best that we can do? Is it actually the best we can do? If you find yourself saying things like, I have to put a tree up to keep the peace, it's not worth my marriage. It's not worth my family's hatred for me. It's not worth that alone. If it causes you fear, anxiety, distress, to think about not following in the tradition of man, first of all, you may be a victim of programming, much like we all are, if you think about it. And second of all, that should just in and of itself cause you concern. If you have some type of physical response, programming is probably the best explanation for why you're having a physical response to words. And it alone should cause you concern that there might be something up. There are other examples, the vices that we have and how hard they are. However, when you ask questions, when you acknowledge things for what they are, slowly, as you speak the truth, there's a certain freedom and peace that fills you up. Do the research, read the Bible, keep looking, ask the questions, seek the truth, and your fear and anxiety will definitely go away. And whatever you choose to do, you do it to the best of your ability to honor God and with a certain measure of fear and trembling, knowing that He is worthy of your obedience beyond any tradition, no matter what that is. So, these are the questions that I want to question myself, to try to answer. And I encourage everybody else to ask these questions and try to answer them. As far as the Sabbath reference, nobody knows what day God the Father rested. The Bible says the seventh day. The seventh day. So, yeah. So I'm not sure if you're questioning what the first day of the week is or what, but anyway, he rested on the seventh day. Anyway, it looks like there's at least one extra person here that just showed up within the last minute or two, and I'm wrapping things up. I went way over my expected time, but it was a pretty, not exactly man-made. God gave us the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky uh, as a means to measure time. That is their purpose, clearly described in the Bible. And whether or not um, the calendar perfectly matches up with that is certainly worth questioning. Uh, but yeah, 7 day and the number of days in a year, the date of the birth, nobody has biblical dates. Yeah, but seasons are seasons, always the same. So that's what that's all based on. It has to do with the um, it has to do with the birth, or rather, when John the Baptist was in the belly. There's some correlation between those two, and that's how they did deduct or use deductive reasoning to say that Jesus was born in the fall and very likely September. You can. I'm by no means trying to just say anything around the area of legalism. However, kind of begs the question as far as picking any day of the week. I usually would propose that that is accurate to some degree, um, but there is 7 days in a week. There always has been, and hypothetically, um, Sunday would be the first day for a specific reason. It has to do with the sun, but but then you could try and say that the actual sun wasn't created until later. But anyway, there's a lot of things in the Bible that deductive reasoning is adequate to determine the truth. Um, you're talking about a pretty an entire season of margin of error, 25% error, and there's a lot of reasons why December 25th is an extremely creepy date to to try to defend. Um, very creepy. Let's see if I can find that thing again. Probably not, huh? Anyway, they are, and they're doing the Friday to Saturday evening thing because they're trying to suggest that the beginning of the day is the evening because of Genesis, where it says Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Voker, Yom Echad, because it says the evening and the morning, day one, evening and the morning, evening and the morning, evening and the morning. That's their justification for that. The issue with that is that throughout the rest of the Bible, when referring to, um, let's say it says the first hour, like at the second, so the first hour, at the first hour, it would be 7. The third hour, let's see, the sixth hour was noon. So, so what does that mean? That the sixth hour would be noon? That means that the beginning of the day was 6 a.m., not midnight, but 6 a.m. If you look in the New Testament specifically. So, all those hands in their coats, I tell you what. There's some really creepy stuff, guys. Stuff I can't even really show in the chat. It's a little dark, but the occult symbolism in Christmas is pretty creepy. It just is. I'm trying to find this one symbol. Here we go. There we go. So all those guys were born on the 25th, according to history. And all I'm saying is that they use that to try to say that Jesus is not. It's not about do what you want, right? Celebrate Jesus however you want. Hope to God that you're doing it in an honoring way. Okay? But pagans, Satanists, Luciferians utilize this in films like the Zeitgeist film, and they say Jesus is just another point over there. They say Jesus is just another, just like those guys, which is very specious, meaning sounds it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, December 25th, and all these guys were sons of God, and all these guys were born by a virgin, and oh my gosh, I mean, here's the thing. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jesus wasn't born in December. We know that they say that Jesus was born December 25th to make those people that loved those gods like the idea of participating in the church, seeker friendly. Again, there's been many seeker friendly situations in the church throughout history. And all I'm saying is if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, smells like a duck, looks like a duck, you should ask some questions as to whether or not it might be a duck. And I guess one of the foundational questions as far as Christmas is concerned which I haven't even gotten on. I mean, I briefly mentioned New Year's and the occult symbolism with New Year's. But I guess the big question that you have to answer for yourself is appropriating, which is legit, like literally what has taken place, is appropriating a pagan festival and pasting God on top of it the way I want to serve God, the way I want to honor God. Think about a temple that's devoted to child sacrifice, and then the church finds this as like, this is cool, this is great, hypothetically, and then over 2,000 years, 1500, 1600, 1700 years, the church appropriates it, and then the child sacrifice temple is now like representative of the glory and power and height that God is above us, and they just make up all this stuff that sounds nice. And people are all about temples and pyramids and these great statues. Again, golden calves. That's my point. Once you just like honestly look at the details, you start to go, yes, Jesus is above all. The question is, my overarching question is appropriating a pagan holiday with God pasted on top and all the pagan rituals just getting new names and goddessized, is that sufficient to honor him? And I think everybody should take the time to answer that sincerely, genuinely. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying that well, I am telling you what to do. I'm telling you exactly what to do. I'm telling you to ask that question. Is it good enough? Is it worth it? Is it the right thing to do? And ask for God's help. But as far as where it's written, where they were all born on the 25th, I'll have to find out what the sources are for that. Let's see. So 3,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, um, Horus, Osiris, Attis were the ones that were related to December 25th. By 200 BC, there was Mithra, Heracles, Dionysus, Tammuz, Adonis. So that was a pretty there's books that talk about Amenhotep the third that reference these people. But that's a really good question, Johnny, because I don't know the actual documents that refer to these things. I don't know the documents. I don't know. There's a lot of it's researching takes a ridiculous amount of time. It's really hard to find information. Telling you, 2005 was a brilliant time on the internet because you just looked and you found. You had a question, it was so much easier to find exactly what you needed. And now, the way that they put algorithms and everything, it makes it impossible to find what you're looking for. It's valid to ask about the calendar that was used. Why always December 25th with all those? I get it. I get it. All I'm saying is it's very clear that Saturnalia is at the root of what Christmas was, or how it became what it is. And it was literally a pagan holiday that was appropriated by the church. That's without question. Okay. Is it okay to appropriate something that's evil? If you find any resources that somehow make those statements false, Christ's calendar, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what Christ's calendar is. And the paganism definitely exists, buddy. But anyway, it's deep, and we should take a look at what we hold dear. And I recommend the birth of Christ has nothing to do with December, period. So the question of whether or not the birth of Christ is evil, I don't even understand the purpose of that question. But objectively speaking, the birth of Christ is not evil. The birth of Christ has nothing to do with December, though. So the question is it appropriate? Provably so. But I did it in another stream when I talked about the September birth, but maybe I'll do that in my next video, depending on how long YouTube allows me to exist. But yeah, is appropriation acceptable? Is the question. Paganism is evil. And programming and shaping our mentality is done from birth. And all I'm saying is these are deep, deep, deep rooted concepts. They are at the fabric of our culture across nearly the entire north of the equator, or whatever that means. So it's worth asking questions. And you shouldn't put any decoration or concept or tradition higher than God. But I believe that God could be honored through just about anything, whether or not cutting a tree down and putting a bunch of decorations on it honors God. It seems a little pathetic, especially if you think about the way that God asks us to honor him. Doesn't seem to add up. But anyway, it might not be a big deal. You keep on saying the 25th. I'm telling you, it's 3 months apart. Why not June? Why not April? the why not is because it's appropriation of a pagan holiday. That's why not, and that's probably inappropriate, at least in my speculation. That would be my answer as to why not. If you think that there's some kind of way to validate appropriation of a pagan holiday as completely okay, I'm not trying to argue with you on that. I just want to hear a good logical explanation for why appropriating a pagan holiday in the name of Christ, why that's appropriate. And again, I grew up, celebrated Christmas 33 years. 34 if you count when I was in the womb. Anyway, it's my bedtime. We gone for 3 hours, 33 minutes. It's a long time. And I have a long day of work. It's busy, busy, busy season. But I hope to be back soon, and we shall see if next week is my last week. We will see. By the way, I don't think it's going to be. I think YouTube isn't going to do much of anything. But that's just my speculation. Because I'm not a big fan of fear mongering. Anyway, keep reading, keep doing research. And as I always say, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength.